Can you game on a 10-year-old Apple server? I bet you haven't heard that one before. Let's find out. So, before we get started, I want to thank GVG Mall for sponsoring this video. They offer discounted games, software, and coupon codes, and I'll have more information on them in a little bit. So, the first thing that you should know about an Apple Xserve is that it is not a gaming PC. This should be fairly obvious because it's a rack-mounted server. But that doesn't mean it can't do other things, because it runs Mac OS like any other Mac, and it has very similar specs to the contemporary 2009 Mac Pro. Last week I installed an NVIDIA GT 1030 in my Xserve, and it did fairly well at some video editing, so today we're gonna throw some games at it, because why not? So before we go into this, I just want to be very clear, because I know that there are some people that get very mad whenever I use the Xserve for stuff other than server things. So I just want to say very clearly, if you want to do gaming, you shouldn't use a 10-year-old Apple rack-mounted server. Just gotta make sure that that's clear. It's a server. First, a rundown of the spec sheet. I've covered them a little bit in previous videos, so I'll keep it short here. My 2009 Xserve has two Xeon E5520s for a total of 8 cores, 16 threads. We're running 8 GB of DDR3 RAM, a 1 TB hard drive, and I upgraded the graphics card to an NVIDIA GT 1030 with 2 GB of VRAM. In total, I spent less than $250 on this machine, and it has already done a pretty solid job in video editing with Final Cut Pro. Definitely go check that video out if you haven't seen it. Today, however, I want to push it a bit more. At first, I wanted to install Windows 10 on this machine so we could run some nice AAA titles, but I soon discovered that Windows isn't supported on these machines, so I had to abandon that until I can find a workaround. I hate to interrupt myself, but I want to give you guys a little bit more information about today's video sponsor, GVG Mall. GVG Mall is promoting their discounted Windows 10 Pro Key. I'll have a link in the description as well as a coupon code for 20% off. All you have to do is head on over to the link and put my coupon code in when you go to purchase. Then choose your method of payment and you're good to go. Then all you have to do is hop on over into Windows, which would be on pretty much anything except for this Apple Xserve. Absolutely flawless tie-in, Luke. You're doing great. Just head on over to Settings, click Activate Windows, and then input your product key that you just purchased, and you're good to go. But back over to the Xserve. Today we're going to be testing a series of games in Mac OS to see how my newly upgraded workstation server gaming video editing audio, web browsing Mac performs. We're going to be testing out The Witness, CSGO, Portal 2, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Sid Meier's Civilization 5 to see how it performs. I'll be honest, I don't have very high expectations because this is very far out of the comfort zone of this machine. It did fine in video editing because we're dealing with some workstation CPUs, a decent amount of graphics power with the 1030. It's obviously not really designed for video editing, but it did a pretty decent job at it. However, I think gaming is a bit too far out of this thing's wheelhouse for it to be a realistic expectation of decent performance, but we're just gonna see what happens. So, without any further ado, let's jump in. Alright, so here we are on the Xserve, and I'm recording this live so you can hear the noise this thing makes. This is a pretty standard setup. I have the Xserve back behind this desk, and I have the microphone right in front of where I'm talking. So this is kind of the ambient noise level that the Xserve produces. It's obviously a lot more than pretty much any other Mac, or than really most PCs for that matter. Alright, so the first game that we'll try is The Witness. Now this is an interesting game because it doesn't run on most older Macs. This is an Xserve from 2009, and the reason it doesn't run is because The Witness requires a metal supported GPU. It uses metal to run on a Mac. So clearly, as you can see here, the GT 1030 is in fact metal supported. So if you want to do any metal supported applications or run metal supported games like this, the GT 1030 will get it done. It also means that you will be able to run Mojave when NVIDIA WebDrivers come out a lot more easily because it has that metal supported GPU. So that's good to hear. As far as game performance, it's not bad. It has some stutters. Like right now I'm getting about 60 FPS. If I look into the more populated areas, we drop down into the 30s or so. But I'm just running this on medium settings at 1080p with VSync on, so you definitely be able to finagle your way into getting a more solid, stable frame rate. But it's honestly not bad. Alright, so next up we are going to be playing CSGO. So I'm just matchmaking. We're going to try this, what's it called? Danger Zone. That battle royale thing that exists in CSGO because of course it does. Alright, here we go. Looks like we're getting about 40 FPS, 34. That's not great. I'll be honest though, I didn't really change any of these settings. I just kind of fired it right up. So we're hovering around the 40 FPS mark. Oh my gosh, it's a man. Oh, this is hard to play. Oh god, it's pretty laggy. I'm toast. I'm toast. Yeah. Alright, so I've adjusted my settings. They are now on the lowest settings, and it looks like we're still getting pretty similar frame rates. It's not the worst. Like, it'll go up to 60 every once in a while. Most likely what's causing this situation is the fact that the source engine that CSGO runs on really can only utilize 2 or 3 threads. It doesn't really use any more than that, so the fact that we have an 8-core, 16-thread Xeon really doesn't mean all that much because it's only using 2 or 3 cores, and the cores themselves are clocked at 2.26 gigahertz, which isn't that much. Alright, so here we are inside of Portal 2, and it's hard to believe, but this game came out 8 years ago. Honestly, this game looks pretty good for its age. I've maxed out the settings. I forget what level this is. Okay, here we go. So I've maxed out the settings, and I have to say it looks pretty good. Oh! I'm being attacked. Okay, well the game's running pretty well, I have to say. Oh, interesting. I forget how. I have not played this game in like 6 or 7 years, so I don't remember how to play this at all. But it's running pretty well. We're holding at a steady 60 FPS on maximum settings, and I'm not too surprised. This is a well-optimized game. It's an older game. It's a pretty light title, but it's working very, very well. Oh, okay, alright, okay. Calm down, big guy. Nope. I don't know how to play this game. Oh, I'm dead. Alright, so next up we have Rise of the Tomb Raider. This is definitely going to be pushing our 10-year-old $250 computer here to the limit. And also, running it in macOS isn't necessarily the best because in my experience, the Mac version of Rise of the Tomb Raider is not that well optimized. And I mean, just in general, you're going to get better performance in Windows than on a Mac anyway. But here we are. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we're looking at 26 FPS. And I think we're on pretty much the lowest settings here. So yeah, it's not great. And as I said before, you know, all of these games are going to run better in Windows, but you can't run Windows on this thing, unfortunately. At least not that I know of. I'll do some digging, see if I can get it on here, and then try some more AAA titles. But yeah, I mean, and obviously this is not a gaming PC. This video is more just for poops and giggles to see what would happen if you tried to play games on a 10-year-old server. So please just keep that in mind when you're watching this. But yeah, as you would probably expect. Oh, it's a slideshow. Oh, E, I gotta grab. Oh, I didn't grab. Jump. Alright, here we go. Okie dokie, yeah, that's a slideshow. So, you can't really play Tomb Raider on here. We've now established that. Alright, and finally, here we are in Civilization 5. This is the save game that I use across pretty much all of the things that I test because it's a pretty decent-sized empire. It kind of gives the CPUs a run for the money. And these Xeons, they definitely seem to be running because we're running about 16 FPS. If I zoom in, we jump up to the high 30s. Yeah, I mean, it's not great. If I'm perfectly honest, this is a game that you can play on lower settings. Like, I used to play this on my 2011 MacBook Pro back in 2011 when this game came out, and it didn't run very well, but It was kind of fun. I mean, I always enjoyed it, even running it at low settings on those really crappy low resolution screens. This game was a really fun game. So, I think it would definitely be playable, but chances are you're probably not going to be playing a game or of any sort really on an Xserve anytime soon. But there you have it. Gaming on an Xserve. It's a time. Oh boy, that's a wrap.